What to do when everything piles up for you. When everything piles up for you, you are constantly thinking about what you should and shouldn't do. It's a draining situation. Perhaps not so long ago you were an example of human efficiency. You woke up in the morning feeling energized and almost without knowing it, you effortlessly accomplished all your commitments and goals for the day. In recent months, however, you seem to only be able to put off your tasks because everything piles up. In addition to this continued procrastination, you feel guilty. Yes, as if not being able to complete your tasks wasn't enough, you have an unpleasant extra emotional bonus. Guilt punishes you for not being decisive and productive. It's like living in a very small and cramped mental space without oxygen. It's only natural to feel overwhelmed and to slow down now and then. But what happens when you are unable to take on the slightest responsibility and your world seems to be collapsing around you? Let's find out. You need to know why you feel so overwhelmed. It is most likely nothing more than a stress level that you have accumulated over time, but which you have not got a handle on. Why does everything pile up for you? When everything piles up for you, you feel trapped by negative thoughts, unpleasant emotions, and undefinable physical ailments. It can show up as fatigue, upset stomach, headache, or even trouble falling asleep. The worst of it is that you find your productivity and ability to meet your daily obligations failing. If you can identify with this situation, know that feeling overwhelmed is a very common condition. After all, we live in uncertain times, and this context has a great impact on the psychological level. However, it is not a new phenomenon. According to a study conducted by Georgia State University, USA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity and ambiguity are actually the conditions that usually define any challenging situation. There are also other additional factors in our current social context that can convey this perception, e.g., the feeling that everything is piling up. Reasons why you feel this way. Usually, stress is the main reason why you feel like everything is piling up. The moment the environmental demands overwhelm your physical, emotional and intellectual resources, you become overloaded. There are also several triggering factors. Dealing with a conflict or relational problem. It can be with your partner, family members, colleagues, etc. Have lost someone in the last few months. Health problems. Economic problems. Having been exposed to a traumatic experience. Suffering from an undiagnosed mental illness such as depression. Being in a transition phase that you are still adjusting to. When life overwhelms you and you feel like you can't handle too much at once, you need to set boundaries and avoid the trap of thinking you have to put in more effort. What can you do when everything seems to be piling up? When you feel overwhelmed, you are overwhelmed by your obligations, and almost everything makes you irritable. Therefore, it is obvious that you have a big task ahead of you. The most important thing is linked to your psychological furniture. It's time to put every piece of furniture in place. Open the windows and let your mental spaces get oxygen. Only then will you be calm enough to regain your energy. Here are some helpful strategies. 1. 5-4-3-2-1 technique to focus on the present. When everything piles up on you, your mind is constantly thinking about what it should be doing but not doing. You become obsessed with what might happen tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, resulting in completely catastrophic thoughts. If that's how you feel, this mindfulness-based technique will help you. The goal is to calm your mind and focus on the here and now. Name 5 things that surround you now. Name 4 things you can hear. Name 3 things you can touch. Name 2 things you can smell, for example the pages of a book or a scented candle. Find something you can taste. 2. Turn off cognitive biases, such as I have to make more effort. You are used to being able to handle everything, but now the time has come when you can't handle it anymore. Your body and mind have told you that enough is enough. This is a revelation for you to correct many of the preconceived ideas that you have reinforced. It's time to accept that thoughts like I have to try harder, or I have to do everything, or I won't feel good about myself, are negatively affecting your sanity. 3. Prioritize. If everything is piling up, it's time to analyze what is affecting your mood and strength. You can take a pencil and paper and make a list of the priorities in your life for those that are secondary. Prioritizing what is important and setting aside what steals your free time, peace and sense of satisfaction is an important exercise. 4. Start with small steps when everything piles up. In that phase, where your whole life is tied up in knot and everything is suffocating you, we recommend that you give yourself a break. You have to disconnect. However, you should not resort to absolute inactivity and hibernation. It is better to keep moving, but slowly. Take one step at a time. When you feel unable to do something, put your tasks aside. But try to set a goal every day, no matter how insignificant it may be. Buy a book. Go for a walk. Spend some time in the mountains or in a forest. Meet someone to talk to. All of these are basic tasks. You can gradually add more complex tasks to get back on track. But take it easy and make sure you prioritize. If you are in a particularly stressful situation, you feel overwhelmed by your tasks or obligations, do not hesitate to contact a specialized professional. Although these situations are frequent, they are usually temporary experiences that resolve themselves after a few days. Therefore, if you find it difficult to deal with this kind of state of mind, do not hesitate to ask for help.